Hello, hello. How are you? I hope that you had an outstanding day today. This video has been a real labor of love, just a long time coming. I've put a lot of thought, a lot of energy into this. And so I really appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to check out the 5 major lessons I've learned from Project Pan. Maybe somewhere along the way, because we've all been able to encourage each other, motivate each other. Maybe some of my experiences will be things that resonate with you or be a resource to you if you're starting your very first Project Pan, or you've been Project Panning for a long time and you want some motivation, or maybe you've never started a Project Pan and you're just looking at your makeup collection and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Those are all very large catalysts to really kind of get motivated to change. And so, like I said, these are 5 overarching concepts that I've really focused on the last couple of years, and I have some notes if you see me kind of look down and reading them, because I wanted to make sure that I hit on different points, things to kind of explain myself. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 major lessons I've learned from Project Pan. That. So let's take it back a couple years. I started my own first Project Pan in 2012. Project Pan was a thing. It was started by a blogger. I'll put all that information in the description box below. That she kind of put it out in front of herself to finish 10 things before she'd buy makeup. Because at that time, I know I was watching a lot of YouTube. A lot of other people were consuming a lot of YouTube. And it was really kind of the same culture that we're seeing right now of buy, and accumulate and have the wealth of product at your disposal. And, you know, it was at that time that I finally kind of faced the reality that my makeup collection controlled me. I was using shopping for makeup as literally a knee-jerk reaction for every feeling in my mind. You know, because if I was happy, I would go celebrate and go buy some makeup. Or if I was bored, I'd go fill my time by buying some makeup. Or if I was sad, I'd go and comfort myself by buying some makeup. You catch my drift? Like, it was just over and over and over and over again. And it finally got to a point where I had a lot going on in my life at the time, and I just felt overwhelmed. I had to face a lot of my shopping because at that point I had to move. And so it was like, oh my gosh, I realized that I was starting to have a lot of hoarding tendencies and personifications to my makeup. And regardless of how ridiculous they sounded, like, okay, here's kind of, you know, a trip into my head a little bit. One of the things that really bothered me was when my husband and I were, you know, figuring out what we were going to put on the truck and what not to move. I didn't want to move my makeup because I didn't want the movers touching it or breaking it or possibly stealing it. Like, these thoughts went through my brain, but I was also pregnant at the time, and in a really kind of just thought that gutted me at how ridiculous it sounded, but at the same time I couldn't stop myself, was realizing, crud, I have all this makeup, but I can't take up the entire back of my car to move my makeup. I have to have room for my child, you know? And so it really just, I got to a point where I needed to make a change. I realized that my makeup collection was consuming me, and I didn't know where to start. There weren't a lot of Project Panners on YouTube at the time. There were a couple that I'm so thankful that they filmed videos, because it gave me the courage to just see what I could do on my own. And so I took a paper Bath and Body Works bag, just a basic, you know, one of the, like this. And I gave myself a goal because our first move that we made that year, we knew we were going to be in a place for about 6 months. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to do what I can, finish whatever in my collection, and see if I can fill up this Bath and Body Works bag in the 6 months that I'm here. And it was slow. I mean, I started off with like a Bare Minerals eyeliner. I had a little travel size of a Bath and Body Works Sweet Pumpkin body spray. I had some lip gloss, again from Buxom. I was using my Too Faced Romantic eyeshadow palette. You see, like, associating memories with this thing. Like, I remember every item I pan. It's really kind of strange. And at the end of 6 months, I filled up that bag. I mean, it was just like, so cool. And in that time, I was able to fill up a care package of beautiful makeup items to send to one of my dear friends back home. And I sent her makeup brushes and makeup and all these things to start her off on her own journey. And it felt so good to just clear out that space. And And when I finished that first Bath and Body Works bag, we moved to Houston. And around that time, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this, but I need to set just a bigger goal, a bigger goal. And so I put it in front of myself. I was like, all right, I'll see how much makeup I can finish in the first year of living in my home. And I knew that I needed to up the accountability for myself. So it was during that time that I started filming videos. And let me tell you, the very simple act of just filming an update every month was huge, huge for me in terms of sticking to it, because I wanted to make sure that I'd show progress. And I began, you know, being able to meet so many other people that were just on the same path that I was. Like, we wanted to do something about our makeup collections and finish things, and then realize that we weren't all out there alone on our own islands. And it was just amazing. And in that time period, I started making really big progress on my naked palette. And so I went, you know what, let's do it. Let's put it out there to finish it online. And that's when Pan That Palette started. And that had its ups and downs, but it was the teeny tiny changes, like literally teeny tiny changes, that once I put them into place and made them a part of my everyday routine and thought process, they snowballed into gigantic accomplishments and turned my makeup collection around, really, because it's not about my makeup controlling me anymore. It's about me controlling my makeup. And I use the makeup to make myself feel good. I use the makeup to give myself the confidence, but I don't give it the power to just control me, where I'm buying things and hiding purchases, or, you know, feeling guilty when I buy some new makeup. Because that's the other thing that I kind of had to realize was going on. Like, I'd feel initial joy from buying makeup, but it wouldn't be long before that joy would turn into guilt and frustration and anger at myself. And, you know, I finally got sick and tired of feeling that way. Sick and tired of being sick and tired is the best way to put it. I realized that just continuing to Project Pan is the best plan for myself, you know, to feel that accomplishment, but to also stay accountable, you know, because every time I Project Pan, I hit walls, I stumble, and it sucks. But at the same time, that is a tremendous opportunity to grow. You know, I get forced out of my comfort zone. I have to figure things out. And when I have to figure things out and work for a product, I love that Hannah made a video, Smoky Glow, recently, about products that she had to work for, because really that's what it's all about. You know, not every product is going to be great and angel singing when you try it the first time. Sometimes you got to try different combinations, or sometimes you may love something initially and then you put it on 2 weeks later and you're like, this is terrible. What was I thinking? You know, that's why we have so many videos of things I wouldn't repurchase, or, you know, whatnot. And so Project Panning is me standing up for myself, taking a stand for myself, almost, as cliche as that sounds, against my makeup collection and against the shopping, because I'm putting myself first and not the makeup. I don't get sucked up in the packaging anymore. I really get down to brass tacks of, okay, how's the product going to do? It's not about, it's so pretty, or it's so, I mean, yes, that plays into it initially with buying, but, you know, it's not too long after that I really get down to brass tacks of, is this good or is this terrible? It's really helped me to take a step back from that splurge and purge bandwagon. I guess I should qualify that, but the splurge and purge is kind of what I considered my behavior in the past, where I'd buy a ton of makeup and then I would get frustrated because I'd have so much at my disposal that I would declutter everything except the basic things I was reaching for. And that would be great for me for a while, but then I would start buying makeup again, and before I knew it, my collection would blow up, and then I'd go through the purging process. And again, that was another aspect that I got sick and tired of, being sick and tired of decluttering, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Project Pan is one of those things that as I invest in myself, I still work through a lot of feelings, good, bad, you know, whatever, as I go through each product, but my relationship with makeup has become much, much healthier because I'm not obsessive over it. I love makeup. I love the process of putting it on. I love that it's for me, what I want, when I want, but I don't allow it to control me anymore. So and the biggest takeaway that I have in this is flexibility is key in my attitude, because My preferences change with makeup. I will not like or dislike something 100% of the time. There are products that I love that I will get bored with, that I will get frustrated with. There are products that I initially hate, like Gilded Ganache from the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette is one of those that I hated that shadow. But once I gave it time and found combinations that I loved, I ended up really appreciating it, and I genuinely missed it when I finished it. Or another opportunity I had was just in general painting my Lorac Pro palette, because it was such a different formula from Urban Decay that when I started doing it as a challenge, I'd had a lot of ups and downs with the Naked palette. And when I started the Lorac Pro, I hated the formula. I mean, I hated it. And if it weren't for so much encouragement and motivation from many, many fabulous people around me that were also painting their Lorac Pro palette, I would have given up. Like I didn't like the color story. I didn't like the formula. And they kept cheering me on to be like, girl, here's a tip and trick. Girl, try this. Try mixing shadows. And, you know, and it was that camaraderie that I was like, all right, I can do this. Let's stick to my guns. And when I did, Lorac ended up being one of my absolute very favorite eyeshadow formulas of all time. But I wouldn't have known that if I would have given up. You know what I mean? So I had to be flexible. I had to be flexible in allowing myself to change my attitude, to change my preferences, to know that there are things that I'm going to love that by the end of painting them, I may not love them so much, or things that I didn't love before end up being favorites. It's just one of those things. It's part of the deal. Change is necessary. It's good. It's feeding into my desire to want to improve my skills, but do it in a healthier way because I'm reaching for what I have in my stash versus buying the latest and greatest thing. And I really use this as an opportunity to jump into trends and, you know, rock makeup, you know, colors and things that I already have versus going out and buying more makeup. And I end up feeling so much more satisfied that way because I'm evolving my style versus just evolving the types of products that I'm buying. Does that make sense at all? It's like, accept change, evolve, grow, be flexible. You know, you get it. You get it. I feel like the more that I'm willing to learn and step outside of my comfort zone, the more excited I get about shopping my stash. Because makeup doesn't intimidate me anymore, especially when it comes to eyeshadow. Eyeshadow palettes don't intimidate me at all. Seeing colors, like I now see a lot of the combos that you can put together, and when I watch videos or see pictures on Instagram or whatnot, I'm instantly thinking of, okay, how can I recreate that at home? You know, and so it really is a change of attitude. And again, being flexible because, you know, sometimes you can try out a color combination that you already have at home and realize that it may not be the best thing for you. And then it's, you know, ended up saving me the money of not buying whatever that particular product was on the market. So all about getting to a healthier place. Something that I've realized about myself along the way is if I need to shake things up, I don't feel guilty about it. If I need to take something out of a project pan, I do. Like if it really, really is not working for me, I'll put it back in my collection and try it in another season. Or if I'm at the store and I see something small, like maybe it's an eyeliner or maybe it's a lipstick, but it just gets me jazzed up about, yeah, that works with the eyeshadow combo I'm wearing right now. Or yeah, that works with the next look I'm panning right now. I will pick those things up and I don't feel guilty about it because it gets me excited and motivated to use the old makeup, but I've got something new that's just kind of like, ooh, shiny. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it gets me re-inspired and motivated. And so that kind of made me realize that a no buy isn't necessarily the best fit for me personally. But definitely something like a low buy is, because like, for me. And let's talk about this for a second, because capsule wardrobe is like a huge buzzword right now with all the minimalism trend and whatnot. And I know not everybody agrees that wearing the same makeup on an everyday basis is a good fit for them, but hear me out. You really learn about yourself when you wear the same makeup routinely. And I'll tell you why it works for me. First off, I see my makeup as an extension of my wardrobe. And so just like we go through our closets and see things that, you know, fit seasonally, or you're looking for colors that maybe reflect the color of the year or whatnot, it's always kind of fun to go in and see how your makeup's going to work with those things. And even if you like changing your makeup up all the time, you still kind of go back to those same stock trends. You know what I mean? Like really think about it with your makeup. And so this is an awesome opportunity to really go through and look deeper, you know, keep shopping the stash, but still feel like you're participating in what's trending right now. And, you know, while you're wearing the same makeup every day, you're really not wearing it for very long because, I mean, with each season being what, 3, sometimes 4 months, or if you're here in Texas, summer lasts all year long. You know, it's one of those things that it really gives you an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone and try something. But just like the seasonal project pan, you kind of got an end date in sight so you can stay motivated and excited. And the next reason why capsule wardrobe really works for me is I'm very practical about my makeup. I don't have a lot of time in the morning to put it on. And so I really like to have a good idea of what my makeup's going to turn out like. I don't like wondering what my eyeshadow is going to look like. And especially I go out of town quite frequently. And let me tell you, that is the perfect time to do wear tests, because if you know how the makeup is going to perform at home, especially when it comes to powder products and foundation, it's really telling when you go out of town and your sleep patterns are different, your diet is different, your water is different, to see how those products react on your skin. Sometimes like I'll go places and my eyeshadow will fade more than they do at home. Or, you know, my foundation will break up more because my skin becomes oilier, my skin becomes drier. And so it's like the ultimate wear test, you know what I mean? And especially with Project Pan, I really feel like it's beneficial because you're wearing those products for more than just a week at a time or days at a time. You're wearing it for a month, 2, 3. And so you really get a day in and day out perspective of how that product performs on its own, as well as how it performs cohesively into your look. This is TMI, but having capsule makeup or wearing a capsule look has made me very in tune with my body and hormone shifts, because I wish this was addressed more in wear tests and reviews. But where you are in your hormonal cycles can dramatically change how your makeup comes across, or how your skincare comes across. Because I know, like for me, like I said, TMI, but like before I have my period and, you know, going through ovulation process, my makeup oxidizes to a much bolder look. And so the very same eyeshadow that I wear later on in the month will look really intense. And it's a super pretty effect, but it's one of those things of like, okay, I can tell when that's kind of happening with my skin. And then it's like when I get around my period, it looks like my skin eats my makeup. Like, have you gone through this? Because I notice the difference now every single month, but literally it'll look like my eyeshadows are faded. My foundation will separate more than it typically does. I'll look at my cheeks and it definitely looks like the blush is gone, my bronzer's faded. And it's more than just fading during the day. It's literally like that's what my hormones are doing with my skin. Or again, traveling, you know, all those changes definitely make an impact. And it's interesting to kind of be able to see those nuances and understand that, okay, I've got a basic idea of what's going on with my makeup every day. You know, especially when I go out of town, I want to feel good and feel confident about it. But if I know that these swings are kind of happening, it really makes a difference in, do I want to continue buying that foundation in the future? Do I want to continue using this eyeshadow combo? Or is it looking muddier today than normal? Or, you know, because that gives me an opportunity to tweak things. And so I guess in general, instead of looking at it as like a Project Pan look, calling it a capsule makeup wardrobe in general is kind of putting the positive spin on it and taking the stigma of this is going to get boring, because you're really looking at the opportunity to, like I said, evaluate how that product performs individually and then see how that product performs with other makeup in general. Like, how does your foundation interact with that powder? How does your foundation interact with that primer? How does your eyeshadow interact with particular primers? How does your mascara deal with, you know, whatever? And so you really get a very clear understanding of what your makeup is doing and if that's going to be a move you want for your makeup collection in the future. Because Project Pan structures the hard conversations that I need to have with myself, but on my own terms, because I'm choosing those products. You know, this is from my perspective. Decluttering and passing along are great. They're great tools, but they cannot be my default setting. And I say that because decluttering and passing things along feels great initially because you're creating space, getting rid of the clutter. I get it. It totally feels good. But I personally learn nothing. I learned nothing from that experience. In fact, I can't tell I cannot tell you how many times I've decluttered makeup and I've forgotten products, and maybe I'll buy them later in the future or whatnot, but I learn nothing. I don't give my brain time to process what I've gotten rid of. And one of the things that has been stated in many videos about collecting things and whatnot is when you instantly get rid of stuff, it feels good, but your brain automatically wants to fill that space with more stuff. And it may not be the same stuff, but you go out and find more stuff to put in its place. And Project Pan is a very slow process of KonMariing, if you will, because you're going through that day-to-day of, does this product bring me joy? But by the time that you finish it, you are ready to thank it for the experience, say goodbye, and move on with your life. And decluttering doesn't give you that closure. It's just kind of like, okay, it's gone, but like I said, take some time and think on that, because that's one of the things that I really kind of came to terms with recently, is just realizing, oh, crud, like I really don't learn anything from decluttering makeup. And the other thing I'm constantly evaluating is, it's great if you have friends and family and loved ones that you love to pass along makeup to, but if it's not makeup that they're interested in before you give it to them, or they're not excited about it when you give it to them, you're not benefiting yourself or them. Because while you're decluttering and creating the space, you're lifting that burden off yourself and you're passing it on to them. And again, it goes back to the whole process of, you got empty space. What are you going to do? Go shopping. You know what I mean? So this cycle continues. And I see this all the time in videos. And when you finally step off that hamster wheel for a second, it's kind of like, just realizing how cyclical all this stuff is. And that's one of the big things, is it's great to feel that happiness, but then you're back to, oh, crud. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those constant things. It's a hard conversation, but I know I have to have it with myself on a regular basis. But I prefer to Project Pan because it's now exciting to finish more makeup than it is to buy new makeup. It's not about how much money I've spent or how little money I've spent if I got it on sale or whatnot. It's really just the satisfaction of knowing I've done the time with it. I've learned what I'm going to learn, and I'm ready to move forward and try something else. Or if I love a product, I know that that's something that I might think about getting in the future. I don't feel deprived because I'm naturally spending less. When I know it's going to take me a year to finish a bronzer, I'm less likely to go buy 2 bronzers in the process, knowing that I probably won't get to them because I'm project painting the first bronzer. Again, with decluttering, this is another one that's kind of like, ooh, and that is taking the time to make those big purges to get rid of the expired makeup, because it doesn't matter how much you spend on that makeup, it hurts. Like, it just sucks when you have to get rid of a lot of makeup at once, because not gonna lie, makeup collections in general are they're selfish. They are a selfish endeavor. It's all about us and what we like. And yeah, you can share the experiences with friends and share products and whatnot, but when you get down to it, your makeup collection is all about you. That is your time for you. It is your stuff, what you like, what you want, when you want it, how you want it. And when you got to get rid of tons of it at one time because it's gone bad, it sucks. And so I think about that every time I want to buy new makeup, of like, is this going to be something that I'm buying to just sit and it's going to go bad? Or am I buying it because I'm going to use it right now? Project Pan is slow, it's steady, but I never, ever, ever stop learning. It doesn't matter how many palettes I've panned or how many foundations I've gone through or eye primers or whatnot. I always keep learning, because going back to flexibility, my preferences change. I change along the way of things that I'm looking for my skin, effects I want to do with my makeup, whatever's going on in trends. And so it really is refreshing with every Project Pan, going in with that attitude of knowing, okay, what are my walls going to be, and what am I going to do to kind of get through them, which means makeup is more exciting. It's more fun because I'm pushing myself. And even though the walls suck, it's like, you need them to grow, because I feel like I grow the most, rather than when it's easy and I'm like plugging along using all my favorite things. Because it's great to do that occasionally, but at the same time, it's like you learn when you got to push, you know what I mean? I have learned that to define Holy Grail is not about individual products. Holy Grail in general means finding types of products, because my favorite lipstick at the moment could always be discontinued. Or if I have a favorite eyeshadow palette, they could change the formula and it's not the same as I remember. And so, yeah, I could be attached to products right now, but Holy Grail is really about finding, okay, I know that I always want to have a red lipstick. I know that I always want to have a warm brown eyeshadow. I know that I always want to have certain types of foundation, or this type of, concealer. You see what I'm saying? Like you learn the classics that you reach for day in and day out from year to year, but it's less about, I have to have this specific thing. You know what I mean? Because things change, brands will discontinue things. Maybe they'll, well, I guess kind of on this note, this is really where it's apparent to me how cyclical makeup is. And we're seeing this right now because in general with YouTube right now, a lot of the big influencers have been making videos for 10, 11 years. And a lot of the things that were super popular 10 or 11 years ago are coming back around, like sidebar, like the Balm Stain crayon situation coming from ColourPop. Those crayons were crazy popular from brands like Clinique, Tarte, and Revlon back 10 years ago, and now they're kind of making a resurgence. Or like the Maybelline color tattoos with Maybelline repackaging them, bringing out more matte colors. That's another one that was super popular 10 years ago, and now we're kind of seeing it. Eyeshadow singles is another one, because people are kind of over having all the palettes necessarily, and they're tired of feeling overwhelmed. So what are they doing? They're reaching for singles. Those are, you see what I'm saying? It's always very cyclical, and it's just kind of looking at your collection in a major way with that perspective moving forward, and how that's going to change what you deem holy grails. Because things I would deem like holy grail now were not things I would have chosen back in 2012, or, things that I love now, or loved then, I don't necessarily love anymore. And hear me out, hear me out. And I say that because the very first step of Project Pan is scary. It's hard. And I know I felt like I was doing nothing but moving backwards, but I want to give you this guarantee. If you stick it out and stay the course, you will see change. You will see improvement in your shopping. You will see improvement in how much makeup you're physically seeing. If you're tired of seeing all the same stuff every single day, you're going to have the perspective of, you did it. You have that accomplishment behind you. And when you create that space, I did that. And it's going to feel amazing. Yes, again, as cliche as it sounds, it's interesting to me how people throw around that phrase, like, it's not that deep, it's just makeup. But really, when you think about a makeup collection, it is deeper than just being makeup. I mean, we don't get our collections overnight. We're not going to get rid of them overnight. And in order to create lasting change, you got to face a lot of tough conversations with yourself. I mean, I guess it's pretty rare for people to just wake up one day and decide, I'm going to get a ton of makeup. I'm going to buy everything in sight. No, there's a psychological process. And, we all have our own path to get where we are, and how we got there. But, maybe we'll find some common threads along the way. But it is deeper than just being skin deep. It's always more than just a passion for makeup. Even like for the large influencers that receive tons of PR and they've turned this into a career, like they started from the same path too. They love makeup, but there's something deeper in it for them too. There isn't a product that is the end all be all, because otherwise we wouldn't keep looking for something better. We wouldn't keep shopping for something better. Somebody brought up a point of that in a TED Talk or something years ago, that, we are muscle trained with our shopping to always want more, because if we find what we want and we're satisfied with it, we won't shop for more. And so then the economy kind of comes to a screeching halt. And so, you know, why would the makeup industry be any different? They're always going to promise something better, something newer, something more bold, and hope that, you know, we all jump on that bandwagon together. And it doesn't have to be that way. But really, it's humbling to understand that in the midst of all the noise that we hear from all these constant launches of bigger, better, faster, whatever, it's conversations like this and maybe watching a Project Pan update that will change somebody's life along the way to say, you know what, I want to try that for myself. Or because you did it, maybe I can do that too and do that for myself. And you don't know, your small changes could change somebody's life along the way. Like it is incredibly humbling to hear some of the amazing stories of people that have completely changed their makeup shopping thanks to Project Pan, and or you know, maybe they jumped into Pan That Palette and they finally finished their very first eyeshadow palette or face palette, and how game changing that is for them. And it's just simple conversations like this that, you know, change everything that they've thought was true about themselves. And so start your first Project Pan, or if you're feeling stuck, give it a try again. There's no right way to do this. And if you feel like you failed, you haven't. You still learn. You still learn even when you don't finish things. And if you feel like you've just failed in it over and over and over again, maybe something that I've done, like looking at them as challenges, will be what you need to maybe have a different attitude towards your makeup. And before you know it, you're going to be finishing things out of your collection. And so it's an amazing journey. There are so many beautiful, just heartfelt people here that are, you know, here to support you, and we're all in your corner cheering for you. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and watch this. And, you know, since this was kind of a heavy topic, I want to leave you with huge encouragement that if you're feeling stuck with products, try them in different ways, multitask them, and you just might end up being surprised with what you end up loving. So that's about it for now. I really, like I said, I really appreciate you giving me some of your time, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon. So until then, take care.